Alright everyone, welcome back to another video. Last time we left off on the east bank of the Rhine. It's just talking about the soldiers moving up on the east bank of the Rhine, obviously, and moving into towns along that. We're now on to the Nazis blow their bridges behind them. March 1945. Fail to stop the Yanks. All along the Rhine, the Nazis were withdrawing in frantic confusion to the east bank, destroying their own bridges in their wake. The Hohenzollern Bridge, I apologize, at Cologne left, the bridge at Bonn, above, right there, and the Funny Mustache Man Bridge, right there, below at Urdingen. But someone slipped up at Remagen, and the fatal breach was made. Elsewhere, the Allies flew across the Rhine and even built their own bridges. Yeah, the Germans are trying to stop the Allies coming from the west, so they're going to, like they said, they're going to blow up all these bridges, but it didn't fully work out at Remagen. They didn't blow up the bridge. It survived, and the Allies were able to cross. And yes, the Allies are obviously going to build their own bridges to get across. You know, it was just this is going to slow them down, but they're going to get their own up. And yeah, this is it. The Germans, they're trying their best, but they just cannot defend anymore. They don't have the power. They don't have anything. This is definitely the end. Roundup at Breslau. March 1945. Nazi prisoners. The German soldiers herded together above were taken in the outskirts of Breslau in German Silesia. Below, one captive, Nazi smiles for the Russian photographer. The main Russian drive was stopped momentarily at Kusteren and Frankfurt, but the Silesian campaign drove forward, threatening Cottbus southeast of Berlin, and to the north the Soviets menaced the German seaport of Stettin. Severe fighting also raged in Hungary, where Budapest fell on February 13th, after which the Russians swung towards Vienna. Yeah, the Soviet advance, obviously they're talking about that. Not as much, which is kind of weird, but the Soviet campaign is collapsing down on them. They're catching up to Berlin. They're very, very close at this point. Berlin will be taken not that much longer from now. Yeah, the Germans know it's the end. The Allies on the west are rushing up, basically, to try to meet the Soviets, but in the west, the Germans are putting up a little bit more of a defense than in the east. In the east, there's no real semblance of a defense. Heroines of Luzon. March 8th, 1945. Homeward bound. Navy nurses rescued from Los Banos internment camp at Luzon in the Philippines debarked from a naval air transport service plane at Honolulu. From their long ordeal in the Jap prison camp, the girls are bound for the States and arrest. They are wearing army uniforms, which were picked up in the forward area. Yeah, many prisoners in the Philippines. If they were civilians, they were taken care of a little bit better. It depended on who was your captor, basically. So they had leaders of the camps. Whoever your leader was, that depended on how good you were treated. In some camps, you were treated better, and others not so much. But it's good that these women, and hopefully some men here too, that were also kidnapped and left in the internment camps, were able to get back to the States, enjoy some nice R&R, and hopefully be able to get back to a normal semblance of life. And it depends on how bad the camp was. If it was too bad, maybe not, but I really hope for the best for them, wherever they ended up. chasing the Nazis across the Rhine. March 8th, 1945. The Yanks roll through Speyer. As the Nazis crumbled everywhere west of the Rhine, the Allies chased them relentlessly back across the last great natural defense line. The enormous power of the Allied push is indicated by the wreckage of this German town, through which rolls tanks and infantry of the Third Army. Overwhelming air power supported the ground forces. Yeah, so you can see this town is in shambles. We've got tanks, Marines, or not Marines, but infantrymen all moving through the town. And yeah, the only reason on the west the Germans really held out as long as they did is because of the Rhine River, but once you got across, there was it. There was no real defense that was able to be held, and it was only because of natural defenses. The Third Army storms Andernach. March 9th, 1945. German hospitality. After the 11th Armored Division of the Third Army smashed into Andernach, Nazi snipers protested with pot shots. In the top picture, the doughboys have spotted a sniper and raised their rifles to get him. Below, Nazis give up and hold their hands behind their heads as the Yanks go on in for other hiding in the house. Yeah, the Germans, a lot of them are just going to give up at this point. They kind of know it's over. I mean, if they don't, they're just believing in the faith of what Funny Mustache Man had said. So, while you kind of get it, it's good that a lot of them are surrendering. It helps make sure that they don't have to lose their life for something that doesn't really matter anymore. It never probably really did. Filipino children are nursed to health. March 1945. Child victims. Assisted by a nun, this young Filipino mother feeds a 2-day-old orphan of the fighting in Manila. The girl holds her own baby under her arm as she nurses the foundling. In the picture below, children suffering from malnutrition are cared for at a Tabalc hospital on Luzon Island in the Philippines. The nurses are native volunteers. Hardship to civilians was particularly severe in Manila, where the Japs not only held out in house-to-house fighting, but also pillaged and destroyed as they retreated. Yeah, it's kind of good that they show this. You know, we don't really think about all of the civilians that are hurt in this. And in the Philippines, a lot of native Filipinos were treated pretty harshly by the Japanese. And it's quite awful, the desolation that happened. I mean, look at these children. You can see their ribs. Like, it's just awful what they did. And this isn't even the worst. And I'm not sure if they'll get to the worst, but we know how bad it gets in this war. A German roadblock is smashed. March 9th, 1945. Blockbusters. Neither natural obstacles nor man-made barriers could stop the Allies in their sweep to the Rhine River in Germany. Here, a powerful United States Army tank has plowed through a roadblock, and 2 Nazis are sleeping as a Yank comes up to take a look. The whole Allied front was chewing up every remnant of the German armies west of the Rhine. Yeah, any German that was caught on the other side of the Rhine, they're not going to survive. Either they're going to be captured, or they're going to be killed. And it's just a true, real factor of reality here. The Germans don't have the ability to come save these men. They are either going to die fighting, or they're going to surrender. And for their sake, I hope most of them surrendered. But with that, that's going to do it for this video. If you guys liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a comment. Tell me what I could improve on. I always appreciate your feedback. And as always, subscribe. It really does help out the channel. Thank you.